Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back, Time with Jesus, and just going to dig right into this. It's amazing the outcome of people talking about the end times and being ready, and the darknesses, and all these things that are taking place. I woke up early this morning. It was about 3:31, 3:32, somewhere in there. And on TV, I fell asleep with the TV on, and it had this about praying, and giving that time to Jesus. If you're waking up at that time, start praying and start delivering your day and start giving your desire, your heart, your mind, what He wants for you, all those things. And I'll touch later on, probably not today, but maybe tonight. I'll get back on and finish up on that. But also, the dream that I got woke up from was, it's not like the 3 days of darkness that everybody talked about, people going around going crazy. But, I'm going to probably get some things ready, because it's not like the rapture yet. So I'm not really that worried about it. But I do know what it's like to be cold, and I do know how to prepare for things like that. So I'm basically will probably venture out in the next few days and get some of this stuff, and I'll pretty much show you all that I'm putting together and why I'm putting this stuff together. It's going to be very interesting. If we go total darkness, people, it's going to be food sources, all these things. And I'll go into there more about finances and all that kind of stuff that goes in with that. But right now, being ready for the return of Christ is the most important thing that we can do in our lives. No one else can get you there. You cannot be saved by grace of your spouse or somebody praying for you. You're responsible to get yourself there. There isn't a pastor out there that can get you into heaven. He can feed you the word, but it's up to you to eat it. It's up to you to do something with that word. I just want to read this to you right here real quick. And he said unto them, unto you it is given to know the mystery of the kingdom of God, but unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables. Basically, if you're not willing to dig into this and understand it, it's always going to sound like a parable to you. Because you look at the disciples, what they went through, in the very end, it made sense when they were at the Last Supper. All these things started making sense. One of them even asked, when did you stop talking in parables? Well, now you're listening, you're understanding. Okay. And then it said, that seeing they may see and not perceive, and hearing they may hear and not understand, lest any time they should be converted, and their sins should be forgiven them. And he said unto them, know ye not the parable? And how then will ye know all parables? If you're not understanding one, you're not going to understand any of them. That's what he's saying. The sower soweth the word, and these are by the wayside, where the word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. See, right there, we have this ability from the beginning. We just don't use it. And when Satan comes into your life and starts plucking that out of you, it takes away that once saved, always saved deal also. You can say it however you want. You can't sin. You can't be in sin. You can't have certain sins. You can't have, your a la carte and think you're going to go to heaven. It doesn't work that way. Oh, I do good works, Nelson. Oh, that's not enough. Oh, I do good deeds. It does enough. But you gossip and you trash down someone else, you kill them with your tongue. Thou shalt not murder, because you're murdering. It doesn't necessarily mean physically killing them, but you're killing them with your tongue. You're going on social media and you're speaking all these lies about someone that's not true. The thing of it is everybody jumps on a bandwagon and they don't even know the truth. Why? Because they seek one side. That's Satan. Anybody that seeks one-sided one-sided conversations, you're stuck in that satanic realm. Because you want to see suffering on this person. You want, whatever reason, whatever, you want this to be true. You don't want to go to the truth. Why would you go to the truth? Hey, how does this dress look on me? I really like this dress, man. Does it make me look fat? Why do you even ask such things? Because when somebody's going to tell you the truth, well, yeah, you can see, do you see any rolls? Yeah, I can see that. Who's asking you anyways? Then you run off to ask somebody else, and then you start bashing that person down. See how it works? Listen, Satan knows you better than you know yourself. He's had watchers next to you your whole entire life. Them little shadows that dance with you outside were really not them shadows. Let me tell you, it's the truth. Whether you believe it or not. You don't, just like I've been saying to you guys, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to believe it to go to heaven. You don't have to believe it to go to hell. Because let me tell you right now, most of you are already walking straight towards hell. Most of you are going to bypass, you're going to go through the entrance. Yeah, you're going to have to go through that spiky lava, frozen lava, I call it, that are like razors that you're going to be drug across. It's going to cut you. It's going to cut you. Dang, these flies, man. They're going to cut you bad. And I'm not even kidding you. I mean, it's going to go down to your bone and scrape your bone that bad. You're going to feel every ounce of it, and that's it. And I'll get back to that when I do the wasteland. But you look at all these things that are taking place right now. You look at, the back and forth with people and people judging, being judgmental. I've had more people judge me in the last few months than I've had in a long time. And and it's not even family. It's people on here. That's what amazes me. You've been through this roller coaster for a long time, a lot of you, and you take what you want to take, just like the world does to me, just like family has done to me. So naturally then you turn around and use stuff that I've said to try to make a point to me. People, come on. When does it end? When do you become God? That's all I want to say. When you can sit there and pass judgment, when you can sit there and judge me for what I say or don't say or how I say it, whatever it is that's on your mind, that's why I gave you a personal email. You don't want me to come back because I'm not going to sit here and go to text all this stuff, 10,000 comments coming at me. Anybody knows me knows that I'm done with those days. I'm done with trying to reply back to it. I assume just reply to you here. That way you can see my range of things. If I'm mad or if I'm upset or whatever, you see me. See, when I just do this, you have no idea, right? You have no idea my feelings. You have no idea. It's words. All you're hearing is words. And else I really didn't hear nothing but a bunch of jibber jabber. Well, that's it. That's Satan's language, people. Jibber jabber. You fall into it every time, and people fall into this. Christians are falling into this. It's like God's ready to test the churches, and he's going to shake the foundations just like he shook it and the veil was torn on the day when Jesus says, "For it is finished." Took all sin into him. But let me go on here. And I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word immediately received it with gladness. Basically, anybody that's following Christ and accepting that, when they hear the word, they accept it immediately. They go to it, they cling to it, because they know its power. They know that Jesus is speaking. Now, there is a lot of deceivers out there. There is people using these sites and stuff for money and all this stuff like this. There is a difference. Let me clear something up real quick before somebody fires missiles here. There is a thing of donating to channels. People do have the dang flies, the tip jars and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that, people. You're tuning in weekly or daily or whatever, and somebody's putting this work in to doing that, and you're receiving off of it, and if you don't want something like that to stop, then it's okay. It's okay to tithe into that stuff. It's okay to tithe into your churches. You just gotta let God lead you to what He wants you to do. I don't have the tip jar up here. I don't have it up here. When I needed help, I got nothing. Really, honestly, nothing. And I'm like, wow, here all along, but then you see the true side of people and how they fire at you real quick. And I know a lot of you probably couldn't help, but it, until you go through what you go through, and you go through the storm, and I've been through the storm. I mean, I'm pulling my way out of the storm now. I'm coming back to where reality is, and I thank Jesus for all that He allowed me to go through. I'm thankful that He allowed me to go back into the darkness. I'm thankful that I'm still alive and breathing. Unfortunately, I can see why, and I've always come against these people that are now putting on their videos, hey, if you want the VIP and all this kind of stuff, it's so much a month and all that. I can see why they're doing it now, because it does take a lot of time to sit here and do all this. I don't have the sponsors, people. I don't have all that goes with all that. Why? Because I can't, unless I jump into a different field of things, I just don't see this channel ever getting to that point. And there for a while I'm thinking, maybe it's me. Maybe I need to preach more. Maybe I need to pull more scripture. No, I went to the Lord on it, and He says, no, it's not. It's clearly you're doing what I asked you to do. So I'm okay with it. He provides, and He will continue to provide, and I'm thankful for that. And have no roots in themselves. Let me read that again. And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who, when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness, and have not root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterwards, when the affliction or persecution arrives for the world's sake, immediately they are offended. And those, God, flies, man. That door opens up and they just pound in here. And those are they which are sown among the thorns, such as hear the word, and the cries and the cares of the world, and they seek of riches and the lust of other things, entering in, choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. And those are the which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word. Basically what he's saying is, when you continue to sow into the darkness, what do you expect to come into your life? What do you expect to hit you? Thorns, people. He's going to rip you. He's going to tear you. He's going to break you from God. He's going to separate you from God. And He's going to separate you from godly things. And before you know it, I've heard one person ask me, I was still driving. On one of the comments, they said, all of a sudden, I didn't wake up being like this, but I woke up and all of a sudden I started painting my nails black, and then I went to black lipsticks, the black eyeshadow, the white blush like stuff, and before you know it, I'm dressing goth, and I'm listening to this crazy music, and I'm doing weird stuff that I normally wouldn't have done, because you allowed your door not to be locked. You turned off the no vacancy and allowed vacancy to be open. When you open that door to Satan, no matter what it is, through music, whether it's through videos, whether it's movies, whether it's your lifestyle, who's around you, the very things that make you laugh, and the very things that make you scared, and the very things that you think is pleasing. You know, I can go eat a dead animal as long as it's freshly killed, but if I wait a few days and go cut that sucker open, I got a feeling I'm going to be sick, if not die. See, when you put the filth in you, you're dying. You're dying away from Christ, but you're coming alive into the kingdom of hell. Nelson, you just called it the kingdom of hell. It is your kingdom. Just like a godly person has the kingdom of heaven. You're going into the kingdom of Lucifer, people. There is no peace there. I'm telling you, you might think you got peace. You might think you got riches. You know, you don't think that God's taking all this exposure and letting you guys see the sickness and the twistedness, the Diddy thing and all this crap, the Epstein Island, them selling people. Come on, people, our government is involved in this crap. Our government. Look how they treat us. You know, they rob money, they allow all this stuff. You know, we keep getting these gas bills and all this crap, that adjustments and this and that, because they put the new meter in, they didn't read it right. Now they're wanting all this money out of us, and I'm like, my gosh, you know, this is insane. You know, it's not our fault that you didn't do your jobs. You know, and it just it gets to a point where somebody's got to step in, and sure ain't our governor or mayor's here. They're not going to step in and do anything. And I'm starting to really question the person that's on the Senate that's supposed to be over looking out for Ohio. I'm really starting to worry about them, because I got a feeling they're in parts of all this fees and all this stuff that they're overcharging us now for the very things. But yet we the people don't do nothing about it. We the people complain. God's done listening to us complain, people. He's given us a voice. He's given us a thing to go out into the world to be like Jesus. I want to be Jesus' shadow. I want to be able to go out into the world and do exactly what Jesus did and not care what the world thinks. But unfortunately, sometimes you get stopped. You know, when Jesus tells you to go into a church, I believe he's testing the church. I believe he's sending things in to see. You better dang well believe when you start sitting up there preaching about, you know, this and that, we're ready for this. You better be ready, because they're coming. These churches, you better be ready for the evil to start entering. It's going to put shivers down your spine. As soon as they see fear, they're taking over that church. They're going to take over. And I've seen it, and people, no. Yeah, you can go in denial. You can hate what I say. It doesn't really matter. I speak the truth before it happens. So think what you want. But you also look at the coming. You know, where's it at? You know, right up here where it says, where they told Jesus, you have a demon in you. And he says, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom by divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rises up against himself, and he is divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil the house. Verily I say unto you, all sin shall be forgiven unto the sons of man, and blasphemy wherewith soever they shall blaspheme. But he that shall blaspheme against the Holy Ghost have never forgiveness, but is in danger of eternal damnation. Is in danger of terminal damnation, which is hell, people. Because what is blasphemy? Blasphemy is denying Christ. You're denying him. When you're in sin, you're denying him. When you're doing those drugs, you're denying Christ. When you're drinking, you're denying Christ. When you're throwing up in that toilet and you're praying to God, please, oh, I won't do it again. I'm gone. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. So stop praying such things that you can't even promise, because you can't fulfill it. You can't keep it. You just want a quick fix, just like all those pills out there. Hurry up and take this. If you take this, you're gonna lose weight. You got gut rot. Take this, drink this, put this in your body. How exhausting is all this? Very exhausting. There is so much garbage out there, so much stuff. People want to lose weight fast. You didn't put it on fast, you ain't gonna lose it fast. It's the consequences of things that we do to ourselves. It's gonna take time. Because if God made everything easy, he wouldn't allow withdrawals. See, he could just simply pull it out of you. You're done. But no, you got to learn, people. Them withdrawals, them shakes, and all the crap you go through, I don't feel no pity for it. My sister used to go through that. It's like, when are you going to stop, Robin? When are you going to stop? When? I tell you when you're going to stop. When your time is up with Lucifer, he's coming for you. Sure enough, that's what happened. She's in the pits of hell, people. Pits of hell. Screaming, being tortured. That's your life. You know, you can F this, you can GD this, you can do all that. Curse words, I'm telling you, I hate to tell you, people, as much as we don't like to hear it and we call them curse words, saying a word is not going to lead you to hell. Okay? You can ask God to bring damnation on your life all night and day. He's going to do it. You're just asking him to do more than what Lucifer already threw into your lap. Congratulations, you get the door prize number B. Here it is. Worst case added on to what you already have. Makes no sense, does it? See, words have power. When we use those powers against him, what do you want him to do? Well, I pray, Nelson, that I won the lottery, and I haven't won the lottery. Well, that's because you're not... You can't handle your finances. Okay. Still got a few minutes. I gotta get a shower. All these things, people, it's common sense. It's common sense. It's like not quitting your job and having $10,000 in the bank and you're paying your bills, you're living a high life, you're running around, getting new clothes, and you're doing all these things, and all of a sudden, you have no money. ATM card won't work. Not enough funds. You go to swipe it at the stores. Not enough funds. You call the bank. Oh, I don't understand what's going on. Well, you don't have the money. That's what's going on. See, when you distance yourself from Christ, you distance yourself from the Father. When you distance yourself from the Father, you're surely not next to Christ. I can guarantee you. Jesus forewarned us of so many things, people. And we still can't get it right. What do you want him to do? He's given us the tools. He's letting people preach it. He's letting people come out there. But when we deny it because we don't want your word, you know, we believe what we say, but we don't believe all of what the Bible says, okay? Because we a la carte that, you know, well, or you hear this. Well, our church, you know, the church really isn't ready for that kind of teaching yet, you know. When is it going to be ready? When are you going to make these people ready? Because they need to be ready now. You need to really start digging into what's coming. Because people are going to fail quick. Yeah, people walk away. It's like that song, you know, the hands you once shook, the random hands are now reaching for the door. Goodbye, because they just drop you, you know, or they mess up and it becomes your fault. I used to talk to this guy that we used to go back and forth and talk about, you know, Christ and today's times and prophesying and all that kind of stuff. And he misunderstood something I said. Haven't heard from him since. Okay. And so now it's my fault. I can't help it. I was driving truck and I couldn't get back to him at a certain time. But these are the things I'm talking about. Even like people on here, they take what they want to hear and they don't read all of it. That's what we're doing to God. We're using whatever we want for gain. What works for us. It doesn't work that way. You can't go to your job and just do whatever you want, can you? No, you go and do the job you were hired to do. Well, yeah, promotions might come up. But are you ready? You might get passed up because you're not ready. You can thank God for those things because you might be going into a very, very bad area. Stupid spam. You might be going into a very bad area. You better be thanking him for those days that he stops those things from happening. You know, there's so many things that are happening around this world, people. You know, we look at the thing with Obama and the Clintons, and, you know, so many people get satisfaction out of saying their name and smiling about it and getting joyful. I don't get joyful about any of that stuff. I'm not supposed to get joyful. I'm not supposed to be happy that somebody's going to be punished or something, whatever they did. They're sure not going to take away this fake elections and all this stuff, people. We might as well just give that up. I mean, what difference does it make at this point whether they've already known it? I talked about the fake election boxes way before this stuff even came out. And again, it was like 9/11. Oh, Nelson, that's crazy. No way they did that. Oh, yes, they did. And look at all the stuff that came out. These states and stuff putting all these boxes, no matter what you voted, it always went to Biden for the presidency. It's fixed. Come on, people. If you don't think they can't make it rain, you don't think that they can make earthquakes, you don't think that they can do all this stuff with the jets and stuff, they can. Why do you think we're having all these fires? Why do you think we're having all this crazy weather? Why do you think all this stuff's happening? You may just think, hey, it's Mother Nature. No. They have to destroy things. And you will see. I told you guys we were going to have poultry problems. I told you we were going to have beef recalls. I told you there was going to be all these things coming with food, gasoline. I'm trying to warn you and tell you, how do they stop us? First of all, they got to stop the trucks. Then they got to stop these boats from shipping the stuff over for the trucks to receive it. What do you think's going on right now? Let's just make some electric trucks so we can control that. We can't control a person, but we can control that. So what do? They bring over all these immigrants to throw them in the truck. Why would somebody do that? Why would they do it? I tell you why. To make them, they're paying them. Okay, well, we'll leave you in jail for a little bit and we'll ship you off with all the money. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Have a nice day. Why would they do that? To be able to show you humans make mistakes. What do they call them? Human botics or something? I don't know. It's some weird name. But they're going to drive the trucks. These trucks are going to be electric. All these things are great because they don't make mistakes. Humans do. They fall asleep. They're distracted. These human bots will not. My electric trucks will not. Well, all of a sudden, the freight's not coming right. You know, blah, 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 blah. That's where they're going to get us. See, they got to control all shutdown. Why do you think they got all these solar farms out there? Why do you think they got all this stuff going on? Why do you think they got Planet X up there? Why do you think this? I mean, I can go down the list of why. Control. They control our resources, water, food, your jobs. They control you. The 3 deadliest things. Think about it. We're seeing it right now, whether you believe it or not. Whether you believe it or not, you're seeing it. They're putting these electric trucks and electric cars up against the fastest Corvettes, and they're blowing them away. People thinking, oh, wow, this is crazy how fast these electric cars are and what they can do. They also got a lot of problems. Did we forget about the middle of the winter with them just shutting down in the end of roads and leaving people stranded? Have we forgot about all that? Maybe you have. Have you forgot about the egg shortage and everybody running into the stores? Have you forgot about the Ebola and the West Nile disease and the COVID? Have you forgot about the ants attacking us and the cockroaches and mosquitoes flying over here? How do you know they're not injecting mosquitoes in this stuff, letting them inject stuff and bring over a virus? You get mosquito bites. You know how many of you sit outside and you get a bunch of mosquito bites all at once? How much venom does it take to make you sick? How many bees will sting you before you start feeling nauseous? We've had the bees. Look at some of them wild bees that were coming over here. You know, you look at locusts, and it doesn't necessarily mean, what does a locust do? It devours trees and stuff. What's happening right now? Forest fires after forest fires after forest fires. You got the freaking ocean right out your back door, and you can't hook a freaking pump hose into that and put it onto a pump and have it shooting into where the area is. It is beyond me how nobody thinks of this stuff. Or they do, they just don't care because they deliberately do it. You know, you look how fast all this stuff falls out of our social media. Look at all the people killing people. Look at the people going into schools, people going into grocery stores, and all this stuff that is happening, people. You can't sit there and turn a blind eye to Lucifer. He wants you to. He wants you to see on Facebook the Michael Myers, whatever that thing's called, and running around now. He's got his little kid up there going with the knife. Oh, that's real great. Let's just have the kids dress up and run around with a butcher knife. You think they're going to know the difference between a fake one and a real one? No, because they're going to tell them. You know, it's like the brain, once it starts getting Lucifer over there with his little keyboard, too easy. Too easy. But you look at what's coming. They're going to tell you it's aliens. Oh, let's just put some aliens out there to make it look good. Could it be AI? I mean, they're making AI be so friendly and so it's so much of a convincing thing that it convinces anybody of anything. You know, I wouldn't be surprised here soon that we're not going to see AI Jesus coming from the heavens, and people are going to believe it. But you got to remember, he said, when you see, do not go there, for I am not there. Are you here? Do not go over there, because I am not there. See, you got to know the Bible to know Jesus. You got to know his word. You got to know his voice. You have to know these things or you're going to be fooled. Look how many people are in these camps right now believing that this person is telling them that they're the Messiah and taking their money. How much money are you shipping out to all this other stuff? How much money are you shipping out on tobacco, drugs, alcohol, dance clubs, girl clubs where you go in there and watch them shake their booties? For what? For what? Only thing Lucifer's making you do. What if you don't have a girlfriend? What if you do have a girlfriend and your girlfriend's like, oh, that's crazy? What if? Well, here's what it's doing. It's building that desire. I gotta have. Well, all of a sudden, you sure ain't taking one of them girls home. They might charge you in the parking lot. But wait, all of a sudden, now you're following people. Then it becomes rape. Then it becomes this. Then it becomes over and over and over. Somebody recognizes you, then it becomes murder. Think about it. I'm not off on this, people. I'm dead on with this. I'm telling you. I know the dark side very well, and I've seen things that it just still makes me shiver inside. You know, I just want to do enough to get into heaven. That's all I care about. Not me. Not me. I used to think like that. I did. As long as I get into heaven, and I don't care what I do. And I'm glad that I had an opportunity to see what I've seen of heaven And the garden, I love the garden. The garden is great. Something Trump would say. The garden is great. I wasn't even trying to do that. It just come to mind. Look, it was great. This is what I've done. Oh my gosh, Donald Trump. It's a good thing they don't watch this stuff. They'd probably be coming to arrest me or something. What are you doing? Although he might laugh too. I don't know. But I don't have nothing against Donald Trump, people. I don't have nothing against Obama. I don't have nothing against Biden. I don't have nothing against our Congress. I mean, at first I was like, come on, man, this has got to stop. But you know what? I don't even care anymore because I know Jesus is all I need. And I know Jesus is going to lead me and guide me to what he wants done. And that's all I'm here for. I'm here to serve him. I'm here to be a good husband. I'm here to lead this household the best as I can do it. The best that's willing to be done. Which means I can say stuff, but if the other person, like your wife, doesn't receive it, you got to keep doing what you know that is right. You can't let someone stop what's happening. If you speak it into existence and all of a sudden you find out that your child did something wrong and you ground them or you discipline them or they have to do this and when you leave, they're not doing it because the other party, which would be the mother, you don't have to do that. You're teaching nothing. You're sparing the rod, basically. Same thing with your wife, but you're also supposed to be loving, gentle correction. Lead as you show. Basically, set the example, people. You should already be knowing what your children are doing, what's going on in that household. You should know what's going on. If you don't, put down that dang on phone. Come home, make everybody throw their phones into a box and say, it's Saturday. Nobody's going anywhere. We're going to sit here, play board games, talk about our day, our week, whatever. Watch how fast that goes over. Before you know it, they got a phone snuck into the house, and I got to go to the bathroom again. I got to go to the bathroom again. I got to go to the bathroom again. Oh, I got to go to my bedroom. I got to do something real fast. And you're sitting there. You disobeyed. You disobey. When you disobey, you're not only disobeying the person that set it into place, you're disobeying God. If I don't lead this household accordingly to what God wants, I'm disobeying. And I'm also now possibly my spouse into sin. Thoughts, actions, whatever it may be. So I'm going to give you a little bit to think on that before I come back and fire up on the other one because I really got to I got to get a shower. God bless you guys. I love you. Till the next one.